Hi, I'm Ellen McCauley, and I'm at Pray It Off in Syracuse, New York. And it's interesting because we're in the time of Lent. We're also in the time where, as an old cradle Catholic, you always had to make your Lenten duty, which was go to confession. You had to go to confession during Lent. I still feel that way. If you have to go, not the week before Lent, in the days of Lent. And also, Lent is a time where we try to increase our faith through different ways, fasting, almsgivings, prayer. And we also think more about forgiveness. And Trish, that was a perfect thing at table 8 when you talked about forgiving ourselves, because Jesus does not only forgives, God not only forgives, he forgets. So we're going to talk about forgiveness because so often, and Father Mano did a beautiful, beautiful homily on the prodigal son. And I'm going to quote it here on a couple of items. And when we were leaving, I said to him, the Pray It Off topic for this week is forgiveness. And that homily was perfect. And I said, I find that the hardest person to forgive has always been myself. And he says, everyone feels that way, Ellen. It is not just you. When I am in the confessional, I don't hear a lot of, bless me, Father, I can't forgive this one or that one, and I'm holding it. Yeah, there's some of that. But most of the time, people have a lot of sorrow, shame, they want do-overs. And us who fight our weight, we have a lot of times where we beat ourselves up about our weight. Where we think, why didn't I do this in 1980? Why didn't I keep the weight off in 1990? Why am I, struggling now in 2025? So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to ask some questions on forgiveness. First of all, what is it? Well, what is it? It's our decision to accept God's grace, to let go of the hurt due to sins committed. And those sins can be someone that did it to you. Maybe you were abused or hurt, or something happened to really hurt you, or a sin that you yourself committed. And God says, I know you have a hard time doing this, forgiving others and yourself, so I'm going to give you the grace. I'm going to help you do it. That's what forgiveness is. Forgiveness is the restoration of freedom to yourself. You forgive others and you're free. You forgive yourself and you're free. It's interesting because this session, it might not seem to have set the world on fire, but many of us, and I know because you've told me, have been on a personal journey. I have come the closest I've ever come to just forgiving myself and letting things go. And it's been a journey that I've been on, especially the past 18 years. I've really been on that journey, and I'm grateful for that. Forgiveness is the key held in our own hand to our prison cell. We create the cell. How many times have we relived things that people have done to us or that we did ourselves? Over and over again, we repeat it, we repeat it, we repeat it, we repeat it. The prison is what we make ourselves. And how often must I forgive? 70 times 7, and what that really means is indefinitely. Indefinitely. Are there any sins committed against me which I don't have to forgive? No. We have to forgive them all. It doesn't mean we have to put ourselves in the place where it happens over and over and over again. Let's say you're in an abusive marriage and your husband or wife hits you, and it goes both ways, I've heard. Or your wife is verbally abusive. God doesn't want you to stay in the marriage if it's an abusive marriage. You don't have to. And that you can forgive, but you need to walk away. You can't keep getting abused. When I forgive, am I condoning the sin? No. The Lord forgives all sins, but he doesn't condone them. He doesn't say, well, that was a good thing to do. But you can forgive, forget, go forward, but it's never going to be the right thing. If your father abandoned you as a child and you never saw him again, hard to condone that. You can forgive it. You can go forward with your life, but it's hard to condone it. What if I forgive? Must I forgive if the person offending isn't sorry? Well, maybe the person offending's dead. How can they apologize to you when they're gone? And you're holding on to this pain and this anger, and they're dead. They're not giving you the time of day wherever they are, and you're holding on to all that pain. Forgiveness has to be for you. Must I forgive if a person continues to hurt me? Yes. And you might say, there's certain people in your life you can't always walk away from. Let's say every time you call your mother says, you know what, you're awful fat. You go to that pray it off group and you don't lose any weight. You're just really fat. There are mothers out there like that. I don't want you to raise your hand. Now, you can say, in your mind, you go, I love her, she's my mom, and I'm just going to forgive her for those words. While hanging on the cross, Jesus forgave his enemies, even as they continued to spit at him and blaspheme him. And you might say, well, Jesus was God. It was easy for him to do it. Don't forget, Jesus had a human nature. He felt that pain. He felt everything that we feel. If I forgive a person, do I stay in an abusive situation? I already said that. You're free to remove yourself from that situation. How do I forgive? Sometimes it's hard. So you say, you know what? It's kind of like that prayer. I love that prayer. I believe, help my unbelief. I love that prayer. I believe, help my unbelief. It's the same thing with forgiveness. I can't do this, Jesus, but I know you can. Help me to forgive so-and-so. I can't do it myself. Help me. And I have a beautiful story coming up where someone did just that. And how quickly must I forgive? Instantly. You know, even today, something happened that cost me where I lost $400. And I wasn't happy about it. $400 is a lot. And I just said, hey, these things happen. It's, you know, can't get it back. What am I going to do? You know, freak out over it? It happened. I forgave immediately. I said, hey, it could have been me. These things happen. I felt so much better, and the other person felt better because I wasn't saying, well, you owe me $400 now. I don't do that. Let it go, okay? We're in a self-made jail and at a standstill in our relationship with God. I know people who go to Mass, and they're saying that, our Father, forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. And out in the parking lot, they're like, I hate my sister's guts, I'll never speak to her again. And you laugh a little bit, but you know people like that, don't you? Yeah. Oh, I forgive everybody but them. Jesus wants us to forgive everybody, okay? And if it hurts us to remember the offenses against us, let's just let it go. Why are we dredging up any physical abuse that happened to us? Let's just say that happened. I'm not denying it happened. But whenever I try to bring it up in my mind, I'm just going to say, no, I'm going to stop right now. We need to forgive and pray for healing for our own healing, okay? And then if we don't forgive, it stands in the way of our relationship with God. It stands in our way of our relationship with others. And I know someone who was physically abused as a child, and it affected their whole life. It affected their whole life. They could never really get close to people. They always felt like they were on guard. Is it a terrible thing that happened? Absolutely. But they're still a prisoner because it's hard to forgive that situation. Are there things in life that are unforgivable? We might think there are. What about the Holocaust? We're supposed to forgive Satan? According to Jesus, we are. We cannot persist in our unforgiveness because we cut ourselves off from God. We cannot do that. And not only are we supposed to forgive, we're supposed to do acts of love and mercy to those that have offended us. Wow. Wow. You know, I always think of Scarlett O'Hara in Gone with the Wind. All she ever did was pine over Ashley, and she wanted Ashley, and Ashley was married to Melanie, and Melanie was the nicest person on the face of this earth. And then when she finally died, when Melanie died, I hope I'm not ruining the story. The movie came out in 1939. When Melanie finally died and Ashley, and she could have Ashley, she looked at Ashley and said, I don't want him. You know, it's like, Melanie was so nice to Scarlett no matter what she did. So we show acts of love and mercy to whatever. When the father came in from the prodigal son, he ran to him. He threw his arms around him. He kissed him. He gave him gifts. He had a big party. He didn't say, well, you're going to have to work it off in the fields, buddy boy, and you're going to have to get your way back into my trust, and you're going to... No, he just kissed him and gave him a lot of love. And so what we need to do if we have people we can't forgive, or if we're having trouble forgiving ourselves, we need to say, by God's grace, I decide to forgive myself finally and forever for being a stupid idiot in the 1970s. I forgive myself. Jesus, help me. Give me that grace. Okay? And I'm going to stop right there.